So if you are seated, taking a seat up on a little cushion, or if you're laying down, feel free to add your bolsters and blankets and whatever else you need to kind of get comfortable. And if you have had a stressful moment this morning like I did, or just in general, sometimes it's nice to take a bit of movement before you settle into stillness. So you can stretch, you can roll your shoulders. There's a little trick that I really like, which is helpful for sort of anxiety, panic, trauma, but can be useful for all of us, which is just taking a moment to look around the room. So especially if you're feeling a bit not settled, you can actually turn your head and just look sort of all the way around the room, to the right and the left, looking up, looking down, and even looking behind you. So you're just giving your brain a moment to kind of notice, like, here you are, right here. You know, hopefully this room feels relatively safe and familiar. So sometimes that can just kind of bring us back into the present moment. And when and if it feels right for you, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And begin to deepen your breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. All the way in and all the way out. Just taking a few moments to allow the dust to settle. Sometimes I kind of imagine like a snow globe that's been shaken up. All we need to do with the snow globe is let it be still for a moment, and the snow will drift to the bottom. And so let's just take that moment of stillness and kind of see what happens. We can let that swirling settle. I'm beginning to tune into your body, how your body is in relationship with the earth, how the weight of your body is held by the ground. And if you are sitting up, just noticing those parts of your body that are connected to the ground and whether you can shift ever so slightly so that it's just a bit less effort, so that you're just allowing yourself to be held a little bit more. And if you're laying down, perhaps just surrendering even a little bit more to that support. Okay, and we're going to take a nice restorative back bend to begin. So if you have a bolster, grab it. If you have a cushion, that's great. And you can lay back on the bolster. So I'm just going to give you a couple options depending on how you're feeling today. So nice simple one. Lots of people like this one. Just laying back on the bolster. I've got soles of the feet together, knees open wide, and I could put my bricks underneath the thighs. Keep in mind, we'll be here for a little while. If you're not crazy about that one, or if you have some lower back sensitivities, elevate the top edge. And the simplest way to do that is just with the 2 bricks stacked. Or if you have 2 pillows, you could put them in kind of a T shape. That works too. And then lay back on that. So that's a little more restorative. It's a little more supportive of the body. Again, you could do this Soles of the feet together, knees open wide shape. If you have a blanket, you could wrap it around your ankles and under your thighs. If you have a second pillow or bolster, you could put it under your knees, or you could just straighten your legs out. If you happen to have a sandbag, hot water bottle, you could put that on your belly. You could put an eye pillow or a scarf over your eyes. So feel free to add whatever props kind of work for you here. And then find a shape that works for you in terms of your arms. So you could take the palms open. You could have the hands resting on the belly. You've got some shoulder stuff going on. Sometimes elevating the elbows a bit is nice. And then just breathe deeply into the space of your heart. Allow your belly to get nice and spacious. Allow your breath to be soft. I'm talking a little bit today about grief, which is something that seems to be coming up for a lot of us lately. And the thing to do with grief is nothing. In the sense of just sitting with the grief, taking a moment to just be with it rather than trying to distract ourselves or do something else or even trying to make ourselves feel better. And energetically, grief lives around the chest, sort of energetic heart region. So if you're willing, if it's comfortable for you, you could take a little bit of time here just to breathe into that heart space. So whatever it is you're feeling here, just be with it. So we don't have to do anything with it except for, pay attention, listen, breathe. Those are things that we can do, but we're not trying to change it. So just notice how that feels for you to stay present with what you're feeling in your heart. Just take about 3 more breaths here. And if it feels good for you to sigh out of your mouth, to make some sound, please feel free to do that. It can be really helpful for releasing grief or any other emotional state. You're welcome to stay a little longer if you'd like. Otherwise, you can gently bend the knees up and wash them from side to side a couple of times. And then we'll come into a twist from here, quite simple. So if the feet are about mat's distance, you can knock them to the left, or sorry, to the right. Doesn't matter which side really. And then roll to that side, press yourself up, and then you can actually just keep your bolster right where it is or your cushion. And just make sure that your hip is kind of snuggled right up to the edge of the prop. And again, you can have the top edge elevated as I have here. And then you're just going to fold down thusly. So I've got my arms down on the mat. You could also have your back arm resting beside your hip. If this is in any way uncomfortable to have the legs in this kind of deer position, you could put them together with the prop in between them. So this is quite a mild twist. It's safe for pregnancy, but if you're not comfortable with a twist at all, you could do a side bend instead. So I'm just going to show that briefly in case you need it. You would have your bolster horizontal on your mat, and you would have some kind of soft prop for your head around the same height. And then your arm just goes in between and you're resting like this. So kind of a similar shape, but not a twist. Twists aren't appropriate for everyone every day. So that's an option there. And this one, we get to turn a little bit more down towards the earth, which is really nice, I find, around a new moon. And again, we can just breathe, this time with a little bit more of an intention of perhaps letting something go into the earth. So if there is some grief, if there is something that's coming up for you right now, maybe this is an opportunity to just kind of offer it to the earth, trusting that the earth knows how to recycle energy like this to transform it into something else. And letting it be okay for you to let as much of it go as you want to, keeping in mind that the pieces that you want or need to keep will stay, and that's fine. Okay, and when this one feels complete for you, you can place the hands down, gently rise up, and we'll switch sides. So you can turn towards your legs and simply rock them over to the other side, sitting on your opposite hip. You can again keep your prop right exactly where it is, and then just settling down on this side. So again, you can have your arms in this kind of cactus position. You can have your back arm resting by your hip. You can have your knees together, or if you prefer to rest in that side position, you're just coming to the second side here. Again, breathing into your belly and allowing your energy to flow down in towards the earth. There's a bit of a feeling of ever so slightly rounding the back here, kind of protecting the front body with the back body. So for a lot of people, this one's quite comforting, quite calming for the nervous system. So just notice, that may or may not be happening for you, but just notice how you're feeling here and allow the shape to do its magic just by resting. Again, notice if you're feeling ready to move out of this shape. And if you do feel ready, you can find your hands and just very gently rise back up to your seat. You can turn away from your prop and wash your knees side to side a couple times. And then we'll take one more, and we may stay in this one for a while. It might just be for a short time. And I'm going to give you two options. So again, you can keep your prop exactly where it's been. We're doing a little restorative flow today. So option one is child's pose, toes together, knees apart, snuggling in with or without the elevation underneath the top edge of the bolster. Or we can take a little hip opener. So for this one, my blanket is right here. So for this one, if you do have something that you can put underneath the legs, that's helpful. I'm just taking a really kind of lazy cobbler shape. So I've got my soles of my feet actually not together. They're either side of these bricks here. And the knees are open. And then I can just take, if I have two little cushions, that's helpful. If I have a blanket that's long enough, I can kind of wrap it under, even just taking it behind my bum and wrapping it under my thighs like that, just to give a little bit of extra support. You may want to sit up on that blanket as well, or sit up on another prop. And then we can take a fold forward. So if you're doing this variation, we're not going to hold too long. It's a little more yin-like. So folding down, and so maybe the forehead lands on that little ramp. Maybe you need it to be a little higher by bringing the bricks in a bit closer. That's one option. Or taking one of them on its tall edge. Or if you have more bolsters, more pillows, you can fill up that space here. Well, most of you know I love a hip opener on a new moon, which of course we're moving out of the new moon phase, but it really is, it's like the pelvis is the place where we kind of need to be around that time. So just giving this a little bit of space, a few breaths. We won't be here too long unless you want to be. Continuing to breathe into the back body, into the pelvis. Again, this one is a little bit more yin-like. So if you are feeling like you want to stay longer, that's totally fine, but it is enough if you're feeling like it's time to come out, okay? So if you're ready to come out with me, we'll just roll up to a seat. We can take fingertips behind us, hugging the shoulder blades, wiggling the toes. And then you can gently draw the knees together and take a little windshield wipe. And if you want, you can just move your stuff out of the way. So if you'd like, from here, you can make your way into a Shavasana and rest, laying on your back, maybe with your bolster under your thighs, or any shape that serves you for Shavasana. If you prefer to rest in meditation, that's welcome too. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Any thoughts or sensations or messages rising up from your body. If you feel ready to shift out of your shavasana or your contemplation, just beginning to wiggle your fingers and toes. You could rock your head. Maybe you'd like to take a stretch, reaching your arms up over your head. And making your way to a comfortable seat. So if you're laying on your back, just drawing in the knees and gently curling over to one side. And when you do find that seat, you can place your hands over top of your heart or together, wherever feels right for you. And just take a moment to bow your mind to your hands, honoring and acknowledging the work that it took for you to show up to your practice today, whatever that felt like, whatever may have come up for you in your practice today. Honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us in our practice. Honoring and acknowledging the land that we practice on, wherever that may be in the world. And for me, that includes Plains Cree and Blackfoot territory. And honoring each other. Thank you for sharing your practice.